Good morning, everybody, and a happy Monday morning. I hope everybody had a fabulous weekend. If you saw my live yesterday, you know, and we all know there's been so much information that's come out over the weekend, but I can only put so much in this video. So for the next few days, there's going to be a lot of information coming out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But for today, let's jump in with what we have, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with Lady Kitty Spencer. She was spotted soaking up the sun in Saint-Tropez, France. She's married. She's 34 years old. Her husband is much older than her. He's like 66, and they were hanging out and enjoying themselves. Now, they've been married for 5 years, and also spotted was her mother, who looks absolutely fabulous for her age. In case you don't recognize her, she was Charles Spencer's first wife. Diana was at her wedding, and I believe Harry or William, one of them, was actually in the wedding. But Kitty's husband is actually 5 years older than her father, Earl Spencer. Anyway, they've been married for 5 years. They have a child. They look very happy together. All right, next up, I told you the other day that Catherine was on the cover of a Spanish magazine. Now she's on the cover of a French one. Let's keep going. All right, let's talk about Balmoral for just a second. You know, the royals can go anywhere, travel anywhere, but they always go back to Balmoral. You have the hills, they're cut off from the world. It's 50,000 acres, the size of a small city, where they can just go and be themselves. This is back where Philip used to barbecue. It was at Balmoral that Diana was sent to be quote unquote vetted before her marriage, a test she passed with flying colors. It was Balmoral where Fergie was banished after the repose of the royal breakfast table was ruined by the pictures of her toes being sucked. Get it? It's where Charles and Diana went on their honeymoon. It's where William and Harry were able to go and escape the public and just be themselves and fish and hang out with family. Yeah, no wonder they go back to Balmoral. Let's keep moving. Let's move on to Queen Camilla, who took a break from Balmoral to attend Ladies' Day at the Ebor Festival in York. Camilla is actually a patron of the race course and was in town to celebrate the Judd-Monte, I believe it's pronounced, international race, being awarded World's Best Race of 2024. So, of course, we know how much she loves equestrian things, so she went to the race course. First, she was greeted when she arrived, and then she went down there saying onto the field to actually talk to the jockeys. Now, while we're there, by the way, you know that Catherine keeps her own bees. She doesn't hire beekeepers. She actually keeps her own bees. Well, Camilla was talking to somebody down there on the lawn, and she was talking about the fact that she has her own hives, and they're having troubles this year due to the high number of wasps. Oh, interesting. And while she was there, she was presented with a jar of honey by Selena and Harry Silk, whose bees are based at the race course. That's amazing. And then, of course, she handed out the trophies. Her horse, FYI, did not win, but she did unveil a plaque in recognition of the Gettr International Race, which took place at the York Racecourse last year, and it was named as the world's best race of 2024. Pretty cool. All right, we're going to move on now. Apparently, a new poppy brooch has been created to honor the late Queen Elizabeth just in time for Remembrance Sunday later this year. It's called, rightfully so, the Elizabeth Poppy Basket Brooch. It's gone on sale this year with the new design serving to honor her memory. 6 poppies blooming from a basket, and it's intended as a poignant reminder of the Queen's legacy. I just love that. Let's continue. The annual report for the Royal Foundation was just published. You guys can go online, look at it. It's like 40 some odd pages long, but the main points of it is this. In 2024, William and Catherine raised £12.2 million for their foundation, and they donated 11.9 million pounds of that. So approximately 86 to 88% of their foundation income was spent on doing charity work. Interesting. 4.37 million to Homewards, 2.2 million to the Early Years Program, 1.78 million to United for Wildlife, 1.5 million to Community Impact and Emergency Responders. I mean, you can look at it for yourselves. So they're really a good example of what charity is supposed to be. It's not supposed to push you ahead. It's supposed to help others. Let's keep going. All right, let's go back to this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing with Prince Andrew, because Miss Maxwell, who we know was in prison, recently gave an interview. And according to her, it is Sarah Ferguson who pushed for a friendship between Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. So she said it wasn't me, it was Sarah who introduced him. And she also said that Epstein had gone to the Bahamas and had hung out with Sarah before. And Sarah had called Epstein and had arranged for Sarah to, introduce her husband to him. Anyway, she continued on saying that Sarah was a frenemy. She says, I don't know if she likes me. I think my friendship with her ex-husband, sometimes she did like me and sometimes she didn't. And she said she always had latent hostility. She also said later on in the interview, and this is very interesting, that the allegations made by Virginia Giuffre were not true, with Maxwell also having no recollection of the pair ever meeting. We know that Andrew has always said it didn't happen, and everything was based on a picture that could have been very easily photoshopped and that nobody had the original for. Nobody ever had the original. Nobody knows where the original was. Now, since the transcript was released by the U.S. Department of Justice, Virginia Giuffre's family have spoken out and they're really upset. They said that basically they gave Miss Maxwell the platform to rewrite history and she was never challenged about her court-proven lies. They went on to say, as the family of one of the most prominent survivors, we are outraged. The content of these transcripts is in direct contradiction with felons Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction for child sex trafficking. Listen, I'm glad they did release the transcripts. Now let's talk about the Daily Mail or the Daily Fail. Basically, they've lost control of William. And let's not forget that there's a big lawsuit coming up. And maybe they feel if they attack William, Harry will go easier on them in court. Not. I do not believe for 1 second that it's a coincidence that since this meeting with Harry's PR team, and they were in the UK meeting with some of the people in the newspaper, that the attacks on William and Catherine have increased. I mean, now they're talking about the house that William and Catherine are going to move into, talking about the links to slavery. My goodness, the house is over 300 years old. I mean, let's be honest, what's going on here? They're hoping that if they dig up dead bodies, somehow it'll tarnish William and his family. Now, this person on Twitter pointed something out very interesting. It looks like there's something going on behind the scenes why William and all this news about him is being manufactured. The Daily Mail isn't just publishing endless stories about William because the public wants it. There's money behind it. That's a campaign code in the URL. It's a digital footprint of forced circulation. In other words, it's a paid campaign. Somebody's paying to flood the headlines with bad news about William. Who do we know that would do that? In the meantime, the Daily Mail is putting out stuff like this. Why the video of Meghan laughing at Charlotte isn't all that it seems. And she talks about how they were all on the balcony. They had just come back from their honeymoon, Harry and Meghan did, just in time to attend the event on June 9th, 2018. And Meghan's actions were closely observed for signs of whether she was going to be a good fit. And they talk about how Charlotte took a tumble before Kate swoops in to pick her up. And in the background, Meghan appears to laugh. But according to a body language expert, there's more to the moment than it first appears. Okay, so let's take a look at that clip. What they're saying is Meghan is being accused on social media of a mean girl level of enjoying another's misfortune because she's smiling or laughing as Charlotte takes a tumble. But what they're saying is that Meghan is busy talking with Camilla and she didn't even have a clear view of what happened. And she seems to be taking her conversational leads from Camilla and Harry, and nothing of what they accused Meghan of is true. But again, we have video, so that's not true. Here you go. They're standing there. Watch Meghan. Now, Charlotte is standing there. You can barely see the top of her head. Sorry. And then Charlotte takes a tumble. Look at Meghan. She's standing over, looking, and then she cracks a smile. Look at that. So please don't tell me that she wasn't laughing because Charlotte fell. She absolutely was. But they're trying so hard to spin a positive PR that this isn't really, we shouldn't believe what we see with our own eyes, because that's not really what happened, even though we just saw it with our own eyes. Sorry guys, but I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. It's just not happening. I don't care how much you publish. And I just wanted to throw this article in there just as an FYI. When Harry was in the UK in April at the Court of Appeal for his security thing, believe it or not, the family offered him to stay at Buckingham Palace and he said no. And again, with Harry, remember, after he lost his appeal, he sat down with the BBC and made all those claims against the firm and said it was a stitch-up. Well, they're saying that the palace staff found out about that interview just minutes before the broadcast. So as the Duke of Sussex might say, it felt like a little bit of a stitch-up. All right, here we go. Here's one of our bigger stories. Pamela Anderson. Let's not forget that she managed to score really big and she joined with Flamingo Estates to sell her pickles. Yes, it's $38 a jar, but unlike the As Ever brand, every penny from Anderson's pickles are going to the California Wildlife Center, which is a non-profit. Now, as you can see on the left, there's Meghan showcasing her pickles in a clapback. Even though she put up a video showing her making pasta, she had to show her pickles. Now, remember, they asked Pamela Anderson about the copycatting of Meghan, and Pamela showed absolute class, saying, listen, I never saw it, and I didn't invent cooking shows. What's being said is that Pamela Anderson getting with Flamingo Estates is a clapback at Meghan, because after all, Meghan wanted to partner with Flamingo Estates at some point. Their coffee books have been on her home and a lot of the videos that she's put out. We know that she went to visit them, but in the end, Flamingo Estates said, no, we're not partnering with you. I think they realized what she was up to. All right, let's continue. All right, next up, Meghan still hasn't sold out her wine, which just goes to show you what I said before. She only had like 100 bottles, you know what I mean? So that when it sold out, she could go, oh, look at the demand. It's selling, it's selling. And now that there's plenty of wine, it ain't selling. All right, next up really quickly, basically, Harry and Meghan have been told by King Charles, stop talking about us in public. And by the way, Harry, keep your wife away if you want to reconcile with us. I think that's interesting. And a big thank you to my subscriber, Catherine, who found this book. Yes, I think it's another copy. I agree. All right, now talking about Meghan's show, she put up a promo. I don't see where Netflix is putting any real money into what's going on here. You know, it's all that and a bag of chips. It's very simplistic. People are like, really? It's beige. They said it's not even enough to be beige. It's not appetizing. And yeah, you put a picture up before they're even browned. But potato chips, anybody can make potato chips, which I completely agree. The show itself doesn't have A-list pulling power. The majority of Meghan's guests all have links to WME, the talent agency that also represents Harry and Meghan. And the guests are underwhelming and basically just a bunch of random people she knows. She doesn't have Oprah. She doesn't have Beyonce. She doesn't have Tyler Perry. She doesn't have the Clooneys. You know, she doesn't have anybody except Chrissy Teigen, who's been accused of telling a teenager to take a dirt nap, and then all of a sudden she's in the kitchen cooking with Meghan, who started a parent support network for children who are bullied online. I mean, if that's not hypocrisy at its best, I don't know what it is. These are all people she never knew that she invited to her wedding. But what you've got is the cast list of the second series, which was filmed back to back, is just as pathetic as the first. Let's move on now. Meghan has shared another video of Harry surfing with the song, What a Man, What a Man, What a Man. She's trying so hard to make everybody believe that she's married to such a handsome fox of a husband. Yeah, I wouldn't take him. Now, it appears from this video that Harry is surfing in the exact same place he surfed last time, which is Kelly Slater's Surf Ranch. This ranch is capable of making the perfect wave. And what happens is you see the guy on the right on the jet ski. He may be gone by now by the time you look at this. But the jet ski takes you down. He yells, go. You jump off. You stand up. And then you just stand there on the board and it looks like you're curling the wave perfectly. But it's not real. You guys know what I'm saying? This is not even close to surfing in the ocean, really surfing in the ocean. And I've shown you guys a video before where this guy surfed it before. Let me show you a little bit of that just so you understand what I'm saying. So, and Harry jumps off into the water, and the guy is yelling at him, stand up, stand up. So he stands up, and here we go. Now, the guy continues to yell at Harry, move your shoulders back and forth. Harry continues to surf. The guy continues to tell him, pull your shoulders back and forth. Come on, let's go, And of course, the guy's also bolstering Harry the whole time by going, woohoo! Yeah, ride next time Tahiti. Now, of course, I believe that surfing in this kind of place is completely different from surfing in the ocean, like William does. Well, the British prince on Twitter pointed out that William learned to surf in the actual ocean while studying at St. Andrews University, not in a water park. He surfed in Scotland, Cornwall, the island of Scilly, Portugal, and he even went kite surfing in the Seychelles. And people are pointing out that Harry is supposed to be an eco-warrior. He lives on the California coast, but instead he drove inland to an artificial surf school that uses vast amounts of energy to create waves. And that's not surfing, that's cruising on a man-made wave machine. I don't know what people were expecting. This is a man who uses private jets like Ubers. I mean, give me a break. Okay, next up. This is Archewell on LinkedIn, okay? Somebody went on LinkedIn and added Meghan Markle. I am going to assume that this is fake. I can't imagine why Meghan would be on LinkedIn, but what I really want you to notice is the length of time of things. Remember, she said if you're not going to give it this much time, don't do it. Everything is 3 years, 2 years, 2 years, 3 years, except of course, the point where she said that she's an actress, and then that was for 30 years. Really? I don't get it. This has to be fake, but I just thought it was, interesting to put up. Let's move on to our last story. Let me just say, I'm tending to believe this story. Maybe this is why Harry was surfing. They're saying he feels more isolated than ever. He's confided to friends his marriage is not the life he imagined because Meghan starts her day before sunrise. She apparently does endless workload and won't hand things off because her expectations are so demanding it leaves everyone on the edge, where Harry is only focused on Invictus Games and his charity work. But of course now he's lost Centabale, African Parks is in danger, so he's just about losing everything. So while Meghan is on the upswing, Harry is definitely on the downswing. And while Meghan is constantly presenting an image of domestic harmony on Instagram, it's really not what's going on. They once treated time together as sacred, but now Harry jokes he practically has to book a slot for Meghan because she just doesn't have time for him. Basically, she's gotten everything from him that she wants, and now she's leaving him in the dust. Remember, Harry stepped away from royal duties for a private life with balance and purpose, and instead, he's not getting the life he expected. And finally, this was sent to me on Twitter. Mrs. Mitch said, check out Cheetah Cartoons because she does a lot of videos, not just about the Markles, but about a lot of things. But I found them to be really good. She's really talented. So if you guys are on Twitter, you should give her a follow because her stuff is really good. It's really cute. All right, you guys, you know what I want. Put those comments down, make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, and a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.